Hey guys, Blame It on George here, and I thought I'd make a quick video about the whole Uncle Walt situation that's been going on for the past few months. In case you're unaware, Uncle Walt is something of a legendary piece of lost media, one that nobody thought would ever come to light due to its age and obscurity. The story goes that back in 1964, a student named Robert Swarth made a cartoon called Uncle Walt as part of UCLA's animation workshop. The short is notable because it used famous Disney characters like Mickey and Minnie Mouse in, let's say, not so favorable ways. One of the earliest mentions of this short online was in 2007 from a blog called Mouse Planet. Their plot description reads, "As the film begins, pictures of Walt Disney at various ages were followed by a pan across a graveyard showing the graves of hundreds of Perrys." Disney produced in 1957 a live-action fantasy about the life of squirrels titled Perry. Then there are scenes with very early-style Mickey and Minnie Mouse with racial caricatures and outhouse gags, a Fantasia sequence including the female Centaurettes working a red light district with Goofy as a pimp, a scene of frightened little rabbit children looking at scenes from Disney cartoons, like the transformation of the Queen into the old hag in Snow White, and a scene of the seven dwarfs gathering to worship Mickey Mouse in a Mouse Ka mausoleum, reminiscent of a similar scene in Snow White. As you can probably tell, this cartoon would have been extremely controversial, and something Walt would have probably disapproved of. Lucky for Walt, it screened only once in 1972 at the American Film Institute, and has not been seen since. Now, funny enough, the film is archived by the American Film Institute under the Robert Swarth collection, but it isn't accessible by the public. And for a long time, that was it. Uncle Walt gained a mythical status in the lost media community. I believe the only person who tried to search for it was Dykate, the founder of the Lost Media Wiki. Some time ago, he actually ended up getting in contact with Robert Swarth, but was basically ghosted, and nothing came out of it. For years, no copy of this short were known to exist, and it remained as lost as it was mysterious. Then 2024 happened, and the Mickey Mouse shorts Steamboat Willie and the Galloping Gaucho entered the public domain, meaning that they, and the characters they feature, became exempt from copyright laws. Therefore, creators were now allowed to use this incarnation of Mickey Mouse in whatever project they wanted without needing Disney's permission. On December 31st, 2023, a user named Steve Staunchfield made a post on the Blu-ray forums. Quote, "A new special set for the last day of 2023. We'll call it Public Domain Mouse Adventures at thunderbeanshop.com. Now, as the first year of Mickey Mouse cartoons will be public domain tomorrow, I thought it would be a fun thing to do a special sets BDR under the Snappy Video label. We'll include some really great reels of trailers from 35mm Technicolor prints, all three 1928 Mickey shorts, additional mouse adventures from other studios, and some other complete rarities, including the infamous Uncle Walt shorts 1964. Altogether, at least 12 shorts and the trailers, in a case with reversible art, a version of this alternative cover below, except not censored, will be printed the other side. We'll be offering it for a really limited time, probably for about a week. Happy New Year, everyone." Steve Stanchfield is the owner of the small company Thunderbean, which actually specializes in scanning, restoring, and releasing film prints of old-timey cartoons on home media. Right on cue, on January 1st, their website announced that they were selling the Blu-ray, now officially titled Public Domain Mouse Adventures. Now, there were some questioning the legitimacy of this site, but it's worth noting that Thunderbean has actually helped find lost media before. They were involved in the discovery of Buster Bear, another old-timey cartoon which, at the time, had zero online information. It was incredibly obscure. They also found some lost Looney Tunes title cards and the original broadcast version of Charlie Brown Christmas. Any doubts of their authenticity vanished when Steven posted a never-before-seen screenshot of Uncle Walt on the Blu-ray forums. This was massive news to members of the lost media community. The legendary Uncle Walt short was finally being released, with one user purchasing a copy with plans of ripping Uncle Walt, which was speculated to ship sometime in early 2024. But as the year progressed, shipping got delayed. This apparently wasn't uncommon for Thunderbean. As one Lost Media Wiki user from the month of May puts it, Thunderbean release dates are to be taken with a big grain of salt. May releases could very well not be done until October. I ordered a set from them, which was not done until almost 2 years later. You never really know with them. Sometimes work gets shelved a bit for other DVD sets that can release faster. I checked their forum thread, and there have been no further updates regarding the public domain Mouse Adventures DVD set yet, so it's not going to be released this month, that's for sure. By the end of May 2024, a different Lost Media Wiki user commented, "Hey everyone, I have an update regarding the shipping status of public domain Mouse Adventures, which has the Uncle Walt short film. I recently contacted someone from the Thunderbean animation website, and they told me that Steve, the person who found a copy of Uncle Walt, is putting the finishing touches on the DVDs to make sure they're perfect, and that they'll be ready to ship very soon. Steve knows that everyone is excited for the release, and that he's working very quickly to get these shipped as soon as possible. So maybe they'll ship either next week or the first week of June. Either way, we won't have to wait much longer." Now, unfortunately, as you might have guessed, June came and went without much updates. However, skipping forward to August, something unexpected happened. While everyone was waiting for Uncle Walt to be officially released through Thunderbean, an eBay listing for the lost shorts suddenly appeared online. This caught the entire community by surprise. The listing was called 16mm film 1964 Uncle Walt Rare Experimental Disney Shorts. No one knew where this film reel came from. Bear in mind that Thunderbean was selling a Blu-ray of Uncle Walt. This eBay user was selling a film reel he had seemingly acquired from a different source. Judging by their profile, and the fact that they had a listing for many other film prints, including one for an episode of a lost sitcom, Please Don't Eat the Daisies, it can be safely assumed that this user is probably a film collector. What was most interesting about this eBay post was how it revealed brand new images from Uncle Walt. After years of this piece of lost media being so incredibly mysterious, we finally got our first look at it. The item description reads, "This is a 16mm black and white film print of the 1964 experimental animated shorts Uncle Walt. Here are some details and a synopsis from the Lost Media Wiki." And then he just lists the Lost Media Wiki description. "Very good condition prints with some minor wear. Probably some sort of dupe or reduction. Hard to say with experimental films. No vinegar. Comes on a 400-foot reel. Perfect for collectors or those looking to add a unique piece to their movie collection." Now, the eBay listing created a sort of waiting game between the Lost Media Wiki and other random eBay users who were interested in buying the shorts. Now, personally, I didn't pay too much attention to the listing because I knew people within the Lost Media Wiki who had already bought the Blu-ray from Thunderbean. So, one way or another, I assumed that Uncle Walt was going to be found. Therefore, I didn't feel the need to spend money on the film reel. I believe the Lost Media Wiki was actually going to win the auction, but someone sniped it at the very last second and ended up purchasing this reel for $172. Whichever person won this auction, we currently don't know. There's also speculation that it might have been a bot who purchased this reel, as it was apparently sniped at the literal last second. I can't personally confirm this, as I wasn't paying attention to the eBay listing, but that's what I'm being told. Regardless, this wasn't much of an issue, as Thunderbean should be shipping out their Blu-ray soon. In fact, Steve Stanchfield himself made an account on the Lost Media Wiki forums, and was able to provide even more new screenshots of Uncle Walt. He says, "It's all cleaned up and final mastering done yesterday. We're attempting to get the discs out late this week. For the set's public domain Mouse Adventures, that has Uncle Walt on it, we're going to send the orders all together on the same day." So, sounds great. Everyone was excited and eagerly waiting. It seemed like 2024 was going to be a solid year for found media. For me at least, this discovery would have been up there with the back rooms, and everyone knows that, stuff like that. But finally, on August 30th, Steve had this to say. The saga continues. To the film community, Thunderbean customers, and fans of animation and lost media. Over the past 20 years, Thunderbean has been releasing Blu-rays and DVDs of classic animation. with particular attention to lost or extremely rare films. It's been both a professional and personal joy for me to be able to have a part in helping animation history be visible and films available in good quality. The support of the animation fan community has kept this tiny company alive over these years. We're very grateful for all the support, both financially and with all the great feedback we've had on what we do. Thunderbeam releases official sets of restored films and cartoons, and special sets. The special sets are always extremely limited runs, and on occasion, we'll offer the older ones again. In these 2 decades, we've been fortunate to scan, restore, and release many holy grails that were long sought after. Some were genuinely lost, others just not accessible for viewing. In this time, there has never been a film we've managed to gain access to that we haven't eventually released. That, however, has now changed. For the special sets, Public Domain Mouse Adventures, we plan to release Uncle Walt as part of the sets. Because of several factors related to the film, we have made the decision to not release Uncle Walt as part of the sets. We'll still be releasing the sets without this one short film. We understand the disappointments of the film and animation fanbase, especially the Lost Media Wiki people. It's one film, among many, that may or may not be unearthed to the larger public at some point. Since we understand that many people have purchased the sets just for that one film, we're offering refunds for the sets. We'll be sending an email shortly to everyone that purchased the sets with a form to request a refund if you would like one. We'll continue our mission moving forward, restoring films for Blu-ray and streaming. We believe access is everything. It allows old films to stay alive. We know the community really wanted to see this film, but hope springs eternal. Sincerely, Steve Stanchfield, Thunderbeam. Now, this revelation that Uncle Walt's would be excluded from the Blu-ray caused a lot of tension online, especially on Twitter. A lot of people were confused, angry, and felt like they needed a better explanation. The one Steve gave us was, because of several factors related to the film, which is quite odd and very vague. Some thought that Disney threatened legal action, but that would be unlikely, given that Uncle Walt should be in the public domain by now. The Big Mouse has no say in this. Some theorize that Robert Swarth, the creator of the short himself, contacted Thunderbeam and worked something out. Others tried to pin the blame on the lost media community because inevitably someone was going to post it online. But it's worth noting that Steve Stanchfield was openly active in the Lost Media Wiki forums and excited to release the short for the community. Speculation aside, one of Thunderbeam's last posts on the matter was, "The decision was only made a few days ago and was a hard decision to make. We were all set to release the sets with it on there. I would have said something much earlier if there had been an earlier decision. We're losing everything we had invested in the film with the decision as well, so there is a financial loss." Adding, "I wish we sold thousands of anything. There's around 240 orders, the most we've had for a special set. Usually it's just 80 to 100 or so. We have no idea how many will be refunded yet, but the refund offer stands, and we'll be waiting a week now before shipping. I really do enjoy releasing rare films, and it's great when something that people wanted to see is released. In most cases, that isn't so complicated. But with this particular film, it was my decision, not made for me in any way, but it was the decision we needed to make. Wish I could say more to stop any speculation. This is literally the most I can say without revealing the reasons. I know there is disappointment and anger because of this. I'm sorry for that. I can say the decision was not directly related to the wiki community or anything posted here. It's also not related to anything involving the Disney company directly." Adding, "I was not bribed by a film collector or collectors or any organization. There was no money involved in not releasing it, just a loss on our parts. It will need to remain a mystery who purchased the film, it wasn't me, what other copies are out there, I owned a copy in the 80s, and if I knew who bought it on eBay, I wouldn't state it, since it's private information. Now, please don't write and ask if I will just slip you a copy of it to you. I'm getting emails like that right now." And with that, the story of how Uncle Walt almost got found comes to a strange and disheartening end. I am a bit saddened that Uncle Walt ultimately won't be found this year, don't get me wrong, but lobbying hate towards Thunderbeam or Steve or anyone won't do any good. In fact, it arguably makes the situation worse. We'll probably never know why Uncle Walt was pulled at the last minute, but apparently it had nothing to do with Disney, any collectors, or any organization at all. There was also no financial reasons, so it probably wasn't a piracy concern. I really can't think of a reason for why it was pulled. Steve definitely isn't a hoarder. He was fairly active on the Blu-ray forums and openly expressed a desire for rare media of this kind to be shared. In my brain, access is everything. There's no reason for all this material to exist if no one ever gets to see it. Currently, the eBay buyer is the only known individual with a copy of Uncle Walt's and can release it. Will he do anything with his copy, or merely keep it in his collection? Only time will tell. The mystery of Uncle Walt is one of the weirdest lost media rabbit holes of recent memory, and it will, unfortunately, remain a mystery. Let me know what you guys think. Have a good night.